Good evening, good morning on your side of the globe. How are you today, Sade? All right, we're going to begin today's workshop. Today's topic for our virtual assistance readiness is going to be 4 effective ways to promote yourself to Western clients without feeling overly self-promotional. This is an important topic because so often, and it really doesn't matter where you are in the world, but so often we fall short of adequately promoting ourselves, pitching ourselves, sharing what it is that is good about ourselves, what we do well, how we help others, results we bring to others through our time, through our skill, through our presence, through our communication, through our innate abilities, right? Through our relationships, character traits, all the things, hard skills, soft skills. We don't always feel confident or comfortable speaking about those things. More often than not, we were conditioned to kind of simmer down, be humble, right? Don't brag and all those things. And we want to make sure that we are operating in the proper motive. We do want to have a well spirit when we're approaching an opportunity, when we're approaching other people, whether are knowing them for a while or whether we've just met them. We don't necessarily need to be boastful at the same time when an opportunity presents itself to demonstrate our capability. It's good for us to know how to make that happen. And that's what we're going to cover today. This is not a new approach, excuse me. This approach is an age-old classic. It has been around for a long, long time. I have used it. I have taught it. I have coached it to others for almost 20 years, and it was around before me. So it's something that I find, though, no matter how much I share it or have shared it in the past, so many people are still wowed by it. They are still surprised to hear it put in this format. They are encouraged that it's such a practical technique, and they're just grateful to have learned what they can simply do to be their best self at the opportunity's chance. So, we're going to talk about the 4 effective ways to promote yourself to Western clients without feeling overly self-promotional. Before we get there, let's talk about why I emphasized Western clients. Well, I don't like to make any assumptions. I am Tawana Taylor, virtual assistant recruiter through Virtual Assist, powered by Bootstrap Dreams. Virtual Assist came about after over 17 years business administration operations experience in private businesses, small business, as well as state government level experience. I'm a certified project manager, right? PMP, if that means anything to anybody. And through that work, I learned wholeheartedly, do it yourself doesn't mean do it alone. And so when I launched out into full-time entrepreneurship, I said, why in the world am I trying to do all this alone? And I stepped forward into what I already knew to be true. And that was a team was absolutely necessary. And as I sought out and was receptive, that part, receptive of the help that I believed I needed, and my business started showing a positive impact and positive trajectory because I was no longer holding all the balls, it became very clear, not only to me, but to other entrepreneurs, that they needed help as well. And so the support that I received through an amazing virtual assistant whose name is Camille. Camille has been working, her and I have been teaming for 3 years together with Virtual Assist, powered by Bootstrap Dreams, helping over 65 and counting small businesses bring on independent, freelance virtual assistants all over the globe into their businesses. Some of them have hired one, some of them have hired up to three, some of them have come back to add on to their team as they have grown. And that's what this is about, because many of the virtual assistants that come through our network are not in the United States of America. And I love it. And so it is my absolute intent to help encourage the virtual assistants, to help them recognize that they have all the skill and honed, ability that they need to succeed. And so we're going to begin with the first effective way to promote yourself without being overly self-promotional. I'm just going to check the chat as we're having this conversation today. That way, if any questions pop up, I can see them. I definitely want to make sure to answer them. And you're also welcome to come off mute. I don't want you to feel lectured to. I want you to know that this is a conversation, and I would highly welcome and highly encourage very specific questions. Of course, redact if it's pertaining to any specific client. And if you don't want to disclose your identity, that's okay too. However, if you have some examples, or if you have some curiosities about how can I do this better, more effectively, then I genuinely want you to hop on and share that so that we can answer those and let lived experience show that out. Just want to make sure I saw some comments. If you're able to hear me, send me a thumbs up so that we can keep going without you losing any of this good information that's being provided with you today. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. I'm really grateful that you're here. Here we go. The first effective way to promote yourself, and I add to Western clients without feeling overly self-promotional, is S. It is the letter S. If anybody has had any type of teaching, learning, coaching, professional development with me before, you know I love acronyms. And I'm also falling in love with acrostics lately. So the acronym that we're working through is STAR, S-T-A-R, STAR. So the first letter of STAR, because you're a star, is S. S stands for situation. Situation. What do you mean by situation? I'm so glad you asked. Situation is just what it sounds like. What happened? In interviews, you are often asked behavioral questions. You are asked situational questions. You are asked about certain circumstances and certain encounters, and just for them to further know a bit more about you, your thought processes, and your lived experiences as well. Because, we've got some people out there in the world that will beef up a resume and it will look absolutely amazing. But when you start asking them specific questions about a type of task, a certain type or category of work, a certain skill set, they can't answer it. Why? Because they just added a lot of fluff to the resume to make them sound good to get into the interview, but they didn't necessarily do the work. And so we want you to be able to demonstrate that you did the work. And if you haven't done it, you're highly capable of doing it because of how well you can articulate and speak to your familiarity with the work being pursued. So the S in STAR is situation. Situation. So a question in an interview might seem something like this. Tell me about a time when, right, fill in the blank, you were approached by, fill in the blank, could be a manager, right? Could be a stakeholder, could be a customer, and you had to handle it without a supervisor's, authorization or supervision, or you had to de-escalate, right? That's a good one. You had to de-escalate a customer or a colleague, in the workplace? When you answer that question, you should be able to answer that question within 2 minutes, right? Within 2 minutes or so. And it tell them that you truly did live out this experience. And so if you're just hopping on the call, we're talking about the 4 effective ways to promote yourself to Western clients without feeling overly self-promotional. We're going through the acronym STAR, STAR, and we're talking about situation. So in the interview, whether it's your client, whether it's traditional employment, whether you're networking in person or virtually, STAR will help you. And coming up with a situation, when I say coming up with, I don't mean make it up as in lying. It literally is thinking on your lived experience and deciding, which one had the most impact on me? And it doesn't even have to be the most successful one. It could be one where a hard fall, right? Or a air quote fail taught you the greatest lesson. So, situation, think about a situation that will be one of the number one things you'd like to do, have prepared maybe on a list. It is okay to reference information during your interview with your client or with your employer, and have some situations at the ready on hand to bring up should you get a behavioral question that you can use this STAR approach with. The next letter of the acronym is T, and T is for task. Task helps to identify the what. What were you assigned to do? So the situation is that's synonymous with like what was the circumstance? What were the conditions that you worked under? The situation, excuse me, the task, sorry about that. The task is just that. What did you have to do? What were you asked to do? As it pertains to the situation, in order to answer the question you're being asked to demonstrate your truest capability, right? So, task. So, for example, I might have been told to speak with a client, right? Because we talk about de-escalating. So the situation, there was an irate client. The client was extremely upset, totally not satisfied with their invoice for the service or the product that they purchased. And I was tasked with de-escalating the client to get them to a satisfactory solution, and a solution not only one that we were willing to give, we as in the company, we as in the doer, the employer, right? The hired work, but a solution that they were willing to receive. So your situation is your circumstance and your condition. Your task is what did you have to do? What were you tasked with? What were you assigned to do, appointed to do? What was delegated to you to help with the roll back up to the situation? All right. Now, the next letter of the acronym, action. Action. Now, you might be thinking, well, Tawana, you just said task. How is it that we're talking about action? Well, the task is what you were assigned to do or what you recognize you should do. Action is what you actually did do, right? So, action, what did you actually do to bring forth the next part of STAR, the next part of the situation, the outcome of the task? So, action. If the situation was to de escalate a client, the task was that you had to come up with a solution that you or your company was willing to provide, and one that your irate customer was willing to accept. How did you do that? Right? So your action, what did you actually do? How did you change? How did you shift? How did you transform the encounter? Okay. The last The very last part of the acronym is results. Shocker or not shocker? But it is results. Results. That equals to the outcome. What occurred? What evolved? What shifted? What transformation occurred because of who you are, what you did, how you did it? What was the impact that was absolutely made by your actions in response to the situation and the tasks at hand? What were the results? Is it that simple? It really is. And in a matter of just minutes, I mean, concise minutes, you can use this throughout the entire interview process. STAR, situation, task, action, result, is absolutely a sure way, a dignified way to promote yourself without feeling overly self-promotional. Now, when you're thinking about results, you want to metrics, you want to quantify and qualify your results at any opportunity possible. Metrics are not always hard numbers, so qualitative results are important. How did you make people feel? Did the person express feeling calm? Did they express feeling heard? Did they express that they are so glad that they talked to you today? Did they express that had they not talked to you, that things could have ended up a totally different way for them, right? We want to know, what is it that the outcome did for the customer and how it resulted into a positive or a success for yourself and or the company that you are representing. We're also talking about, with results, quantifiable data. So if there was a number, right, as a result of the action, right, in response to the task and the situation, as a result, I was able to provide X number of blank, whatever that looked like, right? So, for example, with Virtual Assist, we're able to help over 65 small business owners hire virtual assistants. That would be a quantifiable metric, okay? A qualitative metric, again, we might be how the person felt, the person's experience, the person's beliefs, the person's will to return to you again, right, as a customer. These are all so important as you're talking about relaying, describing, demonstrating your best possible effort, lived experience, absolute capability when you are promoting yourself, whether it's to clients, whether it's to an employer, and you can do it with confidence and not feel overly self-promotional. So I'm going to give a quick recap, and then I'd love for you to ask some questions or give some examples of situations where you might need help figuring out how to respond to it, or you recognize, had I known this, I could have done this better, but now you can do it forward. Let's talk through STAR one more time. The 4 effective ways to promote yourself to Western clients without feeling overly self-promotional is using the STAR approach. STAR. STAR. STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. And we'll go through them one more time. Situation is the circumstance. What were the conditions, right? The task, if you get asked a behavioral question or you get asked a question that is really prompting you to demonstrate that you can do the work that the client and or the employer is asking you to do, think about an experience that you absolutely already had, whether it's personal, or professional. Think about a task that you were assigned to or that you recognized, I must do this in order for this to have a positive outcome. Think about what action you actually took. What did you do? And you can even go into very briefly how you did it, or based on how well you defined what you did, you described what you did, you might get a follow-up question by the interviewer, by the client, by the employer that says, tell me a bit more about that. How did you do that? Right? And then the result. What was the outcome of the actions that you took in response to the task that you took on and the situation, the conditions that you were in? That's STAR. That's 4 effective ways to promote yourself to, and I like to emphasize, Western clients without feeling overly self-promotional. Now, I'd like to turn it over to you. What questions do you have about the STAR approach when it comes to positioning yourself as the best possible option for your clients? You are welcome to come off mute. You can also put it in the chat. Please know that this is an open conversation. There's no need to be shy. We're all here for a reason, and we're in this together because I want you to win. I want you to succeed. And as it pertains to virtual assist and how we do business, I want to be able to personally refer you to clients as they come in based on the work, the support, if you will, that they need and your absolute skills and capability.
Hi, Tarina.
Hi, Sade. How are you?
I am great. I know that maybe some of the people that I have invited, they're not necessarily like a virtual assistant as yet, and some of them are just wanting to get their foot in the door, and try to navigate the online world and trying to, experience that financial
Mm-hmm.
freedom and creating this work-life balance. I
Mm-hmm.
that for me personally, when I have been in interviews, and I've been doing this for 7 years counting. Um, One of the things that were a little bit, I would, I guess I would say troubling for me was the fact that I don't do well in interviews. Like I can definitely get that job done, but I'm such an introvert and I'm such a behind the scenes type of gal. And interviews give me a little bit of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess that's why, they say it's important for you to prep before your interviews, etc. But what advice would you have for me? And how would I be able to, aside from kind of getting out of my shell a little bit, but showcasing that I am able to get the work done, even though, if I'm trying to get a Western client in the
Mm-hmm.
US, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the United States, but I'm well and capable of doing the work,
Yes.
speaking their lingo and all that stuff.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing and asking that question. What you've shared is so common. And again, I emphasize it doesn't matter where you are in the globe. Humanity, we are all human and we all have similar, shared experiences. And a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of anxiety about interviewing is normal. It is so normal. It is also our responsibility in that normalcy to say, hey, the reason I pursued this opportunity, the reason I'm applying for this, the reason I put my name in the hat is because I can totally do it, right? I'm totally capable. Even if I haven't done it yet, but perhaps I've trained in it or it's similar to type of work or type of company that I've previously done work for. I need to be able to take what I have done and what I do know and apply it to this matter so that I can communicate it in such a way that allows the client or the other person that I am speaking with to say, I could see him or her doing this. So, advice to showcase your work would be to, before your interview, as you are approaching different work opportunities, right? You're considering, okay, I'd like my next opportunity. I'd like to do it in this particular niche per se, or my specialty is in XYZ areas. So, like for me, business administration, operations, all the background things. I absolutely love them. I geek out on them. I love project management. So if I find an opportunity that wants maybe fractional, operations work or something, which just means I'm not a full-time employee for them. I'm an independent contractor and I might just work on an as-need basis, right? And some are a little more structured than that, but I do have a client, a construction client that he just kind of calls me at will. And I love it because it's not too much, but it's not too little, but it just works. And I get to do what I really enjoy to do. And he trusts me to do it. What I've done with him in the very beginning, because we're going on 3 years now, in the very beginning, one, it was relationship. So that does help, but we'll talk about that another time. When it's someone that you don't know, something that you can do for yourself is before that call happens, if it's planned, before that call happens, think about what you do in relation to what it is that you know they are seeking of you. So if someone says, Tawana, I want you to project manage a project for me. Well, I know project management. And no matter what type of project management it is, there's just a core foundation in all of it, right? So I can learn the nuances of construction or of medical or of IT or of, I don't have to be an expert in all of it to get it all completely done. I just need to know enough to be dangerous, and then I can help outsource the specialties or the expertise. So I would tell someone, as a project manager, I worked for a state government entity that had over 9,500 employees. You see the metric there? That's quantity. That lets you know I've handled large projects. I might say one project was a uh, applicant tracking system, right? And in that applicant tracking system, we determined that it took over 185 days from recruitment to onboarding. Speaking about the days, again, that's a metric. Wow, she was really a part of breaking this process down. Recruitment to onboarding, boom, that is super specific, right? I would not know about recruitment and onboarding if I probably hadn't done recruitment and onboarding work. So if you have work that you're pursuing in a specific niche or area, look at what that maybe position description or what they said verbally or written in some type of communication that has given you a few hints about what it is that they do and what it is that they need help with, what they need done, and think of a few instances, a few circumstances that you have worked in a similar situation, or think about skills that you have that can apply to the situation. Transferable skills. If you're a virtual assistant or you're desiring to be a virtual assistant and you're still seeking to really get your foot in the door, know that you have transferable skills, meaning you got them in one place, but you can totally apply them to another. That would be my biggest advice, is to just pause and bullet. What are some situations that I was in a job, whether they were positive or felt really, really hard, but I got through it and a successful outcome was reached, or I got through it and boy, I won't make that mistake again because I learned a really tough lesson, and bullet those out. That way, when these opportunities present themselves, you've got some stuff, quick reference to go to. I'll even share really quickly, and I want to turn the floor back over to you all. One interview story, and it's okay to tell stories, right? Just like we talk about or you hear about marketing and social media, that's all an interview is. It's a time for storytelling, not make believe, right? But your lived experience. I used to tell a story about a time where I dog sat for a family friend, and out of casualness and being familiar with the territory, because the dog was at my house versus at their house, being familiar with my territory and being familiar with my routine with my own dog, I failed to put that friend's dog on a leash. Any other day, it would have been great. That day, it was not great. The dog took off, chased after a squirrel, got hit by a car, and died. Sad day. Sad, sad day. The friendship was never the same, right? The reality of it is, though, the reality of it is, I was able to take that very personal circumstance, situation. I know, right? Yes, I can giggle now and I'm not laughing at what happened, but the fact that I would even share such a story, such a tragic story in an interview, why is it effective? It teaches you I'm not so much concerned about hiding my mistakes. And as a matter of fact, because of that mistake, I stick to processes more than I ever did before, right? I understand the importance of keeping in the standard operating procedures because it only takes one time for something to not go according to plan, according to procedure, according to expectation, and it can change the trajectory of everything, a person's life, a person's perspective, a person's experience, a company's outcomes, results, revenue, you name it, reputation, right? And this was years ago. This was over, let me think, over 12, somewhere between 12 and 15 years ago. And it's still a highly effective interviewing story. Because of that story, I'm able to demonstrate the importance of standard operating procedures, the importance of not cutting corners, the importance of, you know what? I might not put my dog on the leash in my yard, but if I'm dog sitting ever again, you better believe, and I have been entrusted to dog sit again, I do not let someone else's dog be free the way I would my own. I have to take responsibility of my dog. I have to take responsibility for someone else's dog. I might get over my mistake, but I can't guarantee another person will. So I need to do everything possible and do my due diligence to ensure that I have followed the steps. And even if I have followed the steps and something doesn't go well, I can stand there with integrity and say, I followed the steps. Now let's figure out what went wrong. But if I cut corners and something goes wrong, I got to be accountable for that. And it's going to cost me something. And it's not always something that money can fix. They gave me a peace offering. We absolutely apologized. I was married at the time. We apologized. We took care of the situation, with the handling of the precious body of the pet. We covered the cost of everything. I mean, that was the least we can do. The dog was in our care, but the friendship never really reconciled, right? It costs something. And so I share that, or used to. It's been a long time since I've shared it, but I share that experience because it teaches about me personally. It lets you know that I'm authentic. It lets you know that I'm not afraid to admit that I've made mistakes. And it lets you know that I learn from my mistakes and I've become more diligent and intentional because of such a tragic decision, outcome due to just a simple decision, just a simple decision. And so those are things that you can do too when you're thinking about who you are in your interview. The number one thing I can encourage you to do is to be you, to absolutely be you. What other questions do we have? You're welcome. As I wait to identify if there are any other questions, thinking about what Sade expressed also, like a little bit of anxiety in interviews. One thing I like to do before I interview, before I do even facilitate a workshop like this today, take a few deep breaths. Some people are like, that stuff doesn't work. Yeah, try it. Just try it. It has a different effect on everyone, but I like to go into an interview sometimes, and just before I walk in, I'll just few deep breaths. The increased oxygen slows the heart rate, allows you to think more clearly, allows you to speak at a more natural pace, and allows you to just relax and lean into the fact that you are really there, and you are really there for a reason. You're really there for a reason. And more often than not, you are who they need. But you have to let them know. Okay. So prepare in advance. You don't have to, uh, what I want to say, you don't have to memorize all your responses, but it is good to have some prompts for yourself. Take a deep breath. It is also okay to pause before answering the question. It's okay to follow up when asked a question to say, wow, that's a really good question. I haven't thought about that in a while, or I don't know if anyone's ever asked me that question. Okay. That will boost you. That's right. That's right, Mariana. I hope I'm saying that. Or Marlena, walk in and share with confidence. You are able. You applied, or you were selected, or you were referred because of your capability, because of your personality, because of results you've already provided for others, whether it's an employer or whether it's for a family, a friend, right? A colleague. You've got it. It's your chance. It's your responsibility to demonstrate that you are able and that you're the best person. What else? Feel free to put it in the chat, or feel free to come off of mute and share. Cassandra, thank you so much. I appreciate your response as well.
Hi, I would like to share.
Come
So,
on.
my name is Cassandra, and then I recently graduated from Sixth Farm. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of a Sixth Farm. I'm not sure.
No, tell me more.
Like Sixth Farm is before college, like actual college.
Okay.
So like I recently graduated, and then I went to my first interview last week,
Mhm.
and I was very nervous.
No doubt.
And because of that nervousness, I completely forgot what I was gonna say.
Mhm.
So I could tell you that interview didn't go so well for me.
Mhm.
And there was distractions as well. Like in the office, there was this cat inside.
Oh.
So the cat, you would hear the cat meow meow during the interview. I'm like, ugh. And then the other thing with the expectation that you said is that
Mhm.
I came very dressed professionally, and
Mhm.
then my interviewer, she was casual, super
Mhm.
casual, but like she already has the job, so that like
Right.
plays in my mind. So I tried my best, and I
Mhm.
knew when I came out I didn't do my best, but at least
Mhm.
I tried. It was
You
my very
did.
first one.
I want to applaud you, absolutely applauding you right now for sharing. Thank you so much, Cassandra, for sharing. And every interview that you do is practice, is positioning for your next best opportunity. So in an ideal world, we'll get the opportunity and we'll nail it every time. However, when we don't nail it, listen to how many things you were able to say. This was happening in the atmosphere. This was how I dressed, and this was the culture of the person that was interviewing with me, and how she was already dressed. This is how I felt. This is what I know I could do differently next time. I'm pretty sure, Cassandra, that the next interview, you're going to go in with a different perspective because you now have this lived experience. And so you can even inquire in the future, what's the style of dress for the interview? Because if the client is like, oh, well, this work is casual, then you can come casual and show all your personality, right? If it's if it needs to require a certain attire, then you can be ready for that particular attire. I still think it's always good to be overdressed than underdressed, because then at least you're demonstrating that, hey, I can clean up pretty good when I need to, right? A lot of people can dress down, but not everyone can dress up. So ask about the interview attire, even if it's virtual, right? Ask about the interview attire. You can also ask about, communication style. Hey, leading up to the interview and following the interview. Following the interview. That's a gem right there. Send a follow up. Send a follow-up for your workshops, letting them know how impactful it was, letting them know that you gained something from the time that you shared with them, letting them know that, wow, you said something that really resonated with me because I like that, or I do that, or I've been wanting to know more about that, or I look forward to, right, building that out with you. Follow up. So many people do not follow up. You will make yourself an immediate standout. And if you don't get a response, don't fret. You've done that which you have control of. The client or whomever it is that you're seeking to work with, they will be responsible for what it is that they have control of. But do follow up after the interview. Oh, hold your plate. And then I've got little ones over here. And then when you think about, your interview experience, take a deep breath. Whatever's going on in the atmosphere, if it's out of your control, remind yourself, I have zero control over that. But what I can do is be present right here and right now. And then you can also be asking yourself, is this something that I can deal with? Because the interview is not just for the client, the interview is for you too. Okay. The interview is for you too. While life requires currency, and while we may often feel like, oh, I need this opportunity because I've got things to fund. I've either got myself living, right, my living conditions to take care of. I might have an elderly parent that I'm supporting. I might have dependent children that I'm supporting. I might have a spouse that, I am collaborating with. I might have whatever a physical need, whatever it is that's requiring us to seek this work and earn this income. We want to do something that we appreciate. We want to be working in a place where we feel valued. We want to we want to like it. We don't want to get up every day and say, "Oh, I've got to go and do this work." We want to say, "I get to do this work today." That's where we want to get to. That's what going out as an independent, professional, virtual assistant, whatever your title will be. That's what it's all about, is going out and being free to do the work that you enjoy to do and get compensated for the work that you are doing, right? I'm so glad that you agree with that. So when you're interviewing your client, have some questions to ask back. You can have those. Again, bullet them, whether you handwrite them, put them in a doc or a note app, doesn't matter. It's okay to reference information during your interview. You are not a machine, you are human. And I would love to know that I'm having a conversation with a person who's been intentional, then feel like I've got to handhold them through everything, or talking to them is like pulling teeth. No, not everyone will be chatty. However, when engaged, it is good to experience reciprocity. Okay. So I'm grateful to hear that some of those things that have been expressed have already been helpful to each of you. Does anyone else have something they'd like to share, add, or ask before we conclude the workshop today? The 4 effective ways to promote yourself to Western clients without feeling overly self-promotional.
I do have a good night. Sorry, everyone. My name is
Hi.
I do have a question. The first one would be, is tomorrow's workshop the same topic, or what's topic for tomorrow?
It should be the same topic. So we actually have dual time zones. So it is literally 10:55 p.m. Eastern time on my end of the globe, and it may be 10:55 a.m. right? Filipino time on some and somewhere else in other times in the globe. So this will be the single workshop for today. This week we're going to have more workshops. Some of the virtual assistants have filled out a form with topics and questions that they might have because yeah, no, I'll fix it for you because I don't want to just give workshops. Camille and I don't want to just give workshops that we think are needed for you. We want you to tell us what is it that you need so we can deep dive into those with you as well. So this workshop that we're on right now, whether it's night or morning on your end, will be this workshop for this week. And then we'll be promoting the next workshop very soon as we review the results, the inputs from the interest forms that we've received from many of the VAs.
Thank you.
You are
And
so welcome.
my second question would be, is there any, or I guess that would depend on what the requests are, because as Sade had mentioned, I know that I am not in the door yet of being a VA.
Mm-hmm.
So my questions would be more along that line. How do I get in? Stuff like that. So for this,
Awesome.
I don't have questions
Mm-hmm.
uh, as yet, because I guess the first
Yeah.
step would be, how do I get in?
Right. Right. You're like, I don't know what I don't know, right?
Right.
Nonetheless, oh, absolutely. Sade would like to add something to your question. And just before Sade goes in, I just want to say and encourage, even if you're not in the door yet, you can be preparing for your interviews now, right? You don't have to wait for an interview to start asking yourself, what have I accomplished? What messy situations did I find myself in, or was I voluntold to address? And that resulted in an outcome, whether it was positive or a really hard lesson learned. These are things that you can already have available to you so that when the opportunity to get in the foot in the door opportunity comes, you can address them. Sade, go ahead and share what you have.
Thank you. So, what I wanted to say was that from my experience, when I first actually started working as a VA, my first job was with a um, law firm in North Carolina, and we were basically assisting folks with their Social Security benefits. So that job came about because I was actually referred by a friend. So my start was via word of mouth, right? And this is the entire purpose of why, I started like this email campaign for folks to sign up and kind of get the ins and out of becoming a VA working from home, because at least in my country, like it's starting to become a little bit more acceptable now. But 2 years ago, it was still considered taboo, and everything you talked about when it comes to working from home, oh, that's a scam, and you can't be paid that much, from, just for working from home, and that's a scam, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I really wish people would not think that, because if I'm your friend and I'm telling you, girl, listen, this is what you need to do. I'm working here. Like, why would I try to lead you astray? Like, do you not see me? Do you not trust me as your friend? And that's basically how I got in. And the second thing that I wanted to point out was that my my first I would say full-time client operating as a solo VA, because the job with the law firm, I was basically like a virtual employee. My first gig as a virtual assistant, having my own client, came from you. And I'm so thankful and grateful because, for those of you who may not know, Tawana is a VA matchmaker, and she tries to match you with clients. And all of her clients are screened, they're legitimate, so you don't have to worry about, clients that are trying to take advantage of you and stuff like that. She does all the screening for you. She does all the hard work. You just got to make sure that you have a skill to pull off the job and show up and show out, you know? So that's what I wanted to say. Now you can go ahead.
Thank you, Sade, for your shared experience. Yes, Sade has been rocking with us for the last 3 years, and it has been amazing to witness her growth. I was so excited when she reached out and said, "Hey, I'm getting contacted by fellow colleagues and VAs, and they want me to teach them this." And I was literally like, I am so grateful that your life, your experience is making such an impact, because the intent of this is not to hold you down at all. It's to promote you to your best possible outcome. We have VAs in our network that have gone on to launch their own virtual assistant agencies as a result of the clients that the client work that they received and the clients that they worked with through our companies. We have VAs who maybe became widows through the pandemic and became the primary breadwinners, or they're supporting their elder parents, or they're supporting aging children, or they're stay at home, when naturally, and maybe I shouldn't say naturally, but commonly, a majority of the VAs that come through our network are women. I don't know if it's because we're attracting, women are attracting women, moms are attracting moms. Like, I don't know what it is, but a majority of our VAs in our network are female. They are women. They are professional women. They are, spouses or caregivers, and virtual assistant work has provided them that flexible opportunity to be present and to provide. And I can speak from the same experience. When I left my traditional career after 17 years and went into independent work, it truly gave me the opportunity to be present and to provide. For example, just before hopping on this workshop, I rushed in with my littles from the splash pad and playground. I literally walked in the door, threw on my Zoom shirt, and we're here. Why? Because it's important to be present and provide. It's not an either or. It's like, that's just not optional to me. I don't want it to be optional for any of you. So like Sade says, I'm as serious about vetting the clients as I am about the virtual assistants. And if I think it's going to be a terrible experience for the VA, I'll decline the client. Everybody's money is not my money. And I'm not getting a whole lot out of the ordeal anyway. The virtual assistant gets way more out of it than I do because it's about a long-term relationship for you. It's a one-time service fee for me. This is mission. This is mission work. It provides, yes, but this is about helping other people live meaningful lives. And so, yes, Sade, I think she was not asked to do that. But thank you so much for sharing with our fellow professionals on this workshop today. That this is true, this is real, this is important work. And a part of us relaunching these workshops is that I've missed it. I've missed connecting with you all. I have missed y'all so much after recovering from a traumatic brain injury due to an accident. It's been a year plus long journey to get to the place to where I am able to speak and articulate with you as though nothing happened, but it really did. And I want more VAs to be ready. I want you to be client ready, because when a referral opportunity comes to us, they want to help and they want to start fast. Literally, somebody could email me tonight and I'll say, well, when does the position start? And they'll say Monday. Now, I know practically that's not going to happen because we've got things that we're going to do to vet them and vet you to exchange information with you all if you're referred to the client based on your skill and based on what they've expressed needing and what we've confirmed would be best possible, produce the best possible results for them. But they want the worker, they want the work fast, they want the support fast, and that's why they come to us, because we can usually get it to them with quality and expeditiously. And we do that through having ready VAs, ready independent professionals like yourselves. And so these workshops are to help you be ready. And so to answer the question of a rundown of future plans, and I want to be respectful. So if you have to hop off, but I do want to share this because I want you to spread the word and come back on our next workshop, which we'll be promoting soon. Can we give a rundown of your plans for upcoming future workshops? Upcoming future workshops will really look like what you say you need. A roadmap is a plan, but not a guarantee. So I have an idea of what I'd like to do with you all. Camille and I have come up with some ideas, but I don't want to just be doing stuff just because I'm doing stuff. I want to be doing things that is transformational for you all. So it's my intent to give you some nice, concise, effective, sound bites, teachable, tangible moments like we did today, right? We were done with that in about 15 minutes, right? The rest is live share. I want to give you some actual, some content by which you're learning and gleaning from and feeling affirmed in. I also want to do some live speaking, sharing, coaching with each other, because we are not all in this by ourselves, and we are not so foreign from one another that we don't have shared experiences, right, to offer. So I love when you come on and you share your experiences. Q&A, some of the best ways to talk these things through is to give examples. So Q&A is highly welcome here. And I genuinely want to feature you, the virtual assistants. And some of the best ways I can do that is by building the relationship with you all. I'm not able to respond to every single email that I receive just out of practicality and time. And so oftentimes you might get a response from Camille and not me. It's not that I'm putting you off. It's not that I'm too good. I'm not that kind of person. I'm here for you. And I want to get to know you because I love to be able to tell a client, yep, I've worked with this client. This client has been in our network for X period of time. I've seen this client's results. Matter of fact, not client, I'm sorry, VA. This VA did X, Y, and Z for me. So I can readily speak to the quality, the integrity, the efficiency, the communication. I love to be able to tell the clients there's no communication barrier. You won't believe. Yes, you would. You would believe. In 2024, I still get asked, what if we can't communicate well? What do you mean? That's literally my face in question. I'm not sure what you're asking me. They speak English, right? Like, how could I? What are you talking about? I'm literally like that. I'm like, you got to give me more than that. Like, you got to give me better than that. What is your absolute concern? And there are times where if it did get difficult with a client and a virtual assistant, I ask the virtual assistant and I tell the client, I keep an open line of communication with both. When I refer you to a client, I'm checking in with the client and with the VA, okay, to understand what's going on, how are things working, what can be improved, can Camille or I provide any assistance to you all to smooth out things that can be worked through. And if a client just seems like they're just a nuisance and they're not providing you with the proper onboarding, access to tools and resources and information to do the work they've asked you to do, I won't refer that client again. I won't refer a VA to that client again. We can get a regular job and be stressed out. We didn't go independent to take on all the risk to be stressed out. Nah, we don't do that. So for me, future workshops looks like, again, some teachable moments. It looks like, Shardae's laughing, some teachable moments. It looks like some conversation, some shares, right? It looks like some hot seat coaching. You might have, hey, I got an interview coming up and this workshop came right on time. Can we talk through this? I would love to do that with you. I would love for other people like yourselves to share with your fellow VAs, your fellow colleagues, how you are navigating and succeeding, and how maybe sometimes it feels hard and you feel alone out here. Let's talk about that, because you're not. It's not just you. And I also want to feature you. I want to be able to show people your amazing selves. Now, when we feature you, I will say it will require you to submit a photo, maybe even a short video, because that's a part of our vetting process. That's a part of ways that we demonstrate for you and for the client. We require the same thing from them, photo and or video. But a real live audio in some form, because nobody wants to be catfished. I don't know if that's still a word out there in the streets, but We need to know we're dealing with real people, not bots. We need to know that we're not getting scammed because our lives are really in this. We're giving time that we can't get back to something that we think is meaningful. So we want it to be for real, right? So we do require you to show yourselves when we feature you on our social media and our emails that we'll be sending out in the near future. As we do this talks, we're going to have these talks also be part of a podcast series that we're going to be launching soon. So it's going to look like something that we hope with our most sincerest heart form, something that is for you, for your best possible outcomes. And please know that we welcome ideas because, as with any business, the marketing is often the hardest part. We have changed quite a bit. We have even niched down quite a bit to try to attract the best client for the work that we know needs to be done, the results we know needs to be accomplished, and for the amazing people that we have in our network who are willing to support and serve. We need help getting the word out. And so we're hoping that these workshops and featuring you and just and having you be ready, absolutely ready. We're hoping that that will help produce more referrals, that we're hoping that will help break down barriers for people who are interested in virtual assistants, but maybe they're afraid to take that next step because they're concerned about communication barriers. They're concerned about time zone differences. They're concerned about how much does it cost? Can I afford it? And all these other things that often prevent people who have tons that need to be done, but they're trying to do it all themselves. We're trying to break those barriers and get you to collaborate, be their support partner, be their, strategic alliance partner, be their brainwave, strategist, and be their transformation aid in their small businesses so that not only their lives can be well, but so that your lives can be well also. We love this work and we have a true respect and appreciation for you, the independent professional, the virtual assistant, and through my own positive outcome and testimony, or at least already shared, I suffered a traumatic brain injury. December 2022, I was hit in a head-on vehicle collision, and it's been a year plus the recovery process. But if it were not for Camille and her support to my small business during that time, I don't think I'd be here with you all today. The business would not exist because there would have been no one to keep it running. And so many people have no idea that any of that even happened because of how well she kept the face of the business alive and moving. And so I want to share that more because I want more people to see that life is real and that do it yourself doesn't mean do it alone, and that there are amazing people out here in this world who are willing to do their great part with the skills and abilities that they already have to change, right, the way business looks, feels, and needs to be in order for each of you to succeed. And I'm going to make it a hard stop there. Any more feedback, questions, or suggestions before we conclude the workshop this go round?
Hi, I had a question, but it was just like I didn't came earlier, but I'm planning to join tomorrow to see at the beginning. But I have a question that what are the requirements of being a VA?
Oh, that's a great question. The requirements of being a VA are simple. Show up, have the skills that you have that you have communicated, whether verbally or written form. Have the skills that you have communicated that you have. Be responsive. right? If we send you a communication that says you are being selected for referral, please respond, right? Because if you don't respond to us, how do I know if you're going to respond to the client? Um, and ultimately, just be willing to be flexible. Be willing to be flexible. When we promote opportunity, sometimes we have people at the top of mind and we'll email you directly. But more often than not, we'll send out a mass communication to our virtual assistant network to say, we have a client that's hiring, and we'll have a complete job description that will tell you exactly what it is that the client does. We won't disclose to you who the client is until you are selected as a candidate, but we will disclose what the client's business is, what the client does in that business, what the specific support is that you will provide, and the steps to express your interest or apply for the position so that we can screen, ask you for any information that might be needed. Things that we usually ask for is a 1 to 2 minute introductory video. We do ask for a resume. We do ask for a portfolio if it's work that you can portfolio. I want you to get creative though, because if you're an accountant, you can still make a portfolio. You might have to redact some information. You might have to put up a dummy, a generic template of some kind, but you can demonstrate what it is that you do. Anything you do on a computer, anything that you do audibly, anything that you do visually can actually be put into a digital portfolio. Canva is the way to go. Right? You can put some stuff in Canva and share a link because you want the client to see, hear, and trust that you are their person. So those are just some of the high level things that we have asked from virtual assistants when they're becoming a part of our network, and to be ready for referral to a client. There is a form. We get a full profile on you where you give us your name, you give us what your preferred pay range will be. We give you an opportunity to select what type of industries you want to work for, what type of work you specialize in within those industries. And then, of course, to be able to attach any attachments that are necessary for the position itself. But we make it really plain for you. And if you have questions, you always have the invitation to ask questions when you see an opportunity come across as well. Thank you for asking that, Cassandra. Anyone else?
Can I just piggyback off of what you said?
Yes.
Because I want to make sure that she completely, in my mind, I'm thinking that she asked the question for a specific reason. And I think that what most people don't understand is that, being a virtual assistant, it starts with the skills that they already have, right? So here in Belize, one of the major things here are like call center jobs. So like customer service, if they've worked customer service, and it doesn't even have to be at a call center. It could be at a cafe, a restaurant, being a waitress. That's customer service skills. They can use that to assist companies with tasks and responding to customers' inquiries, stuff like that. Or, if they have writing and editing skills, or somebody with, a knowledge of social media or something as simple as data entry. These are the type of skills that you can use to get the ball moving when it comes to establishing yourself as a virtual professional. Like, you don't have to spend money on courses. I mean, if you want to, that's fine. But starting out, it can be something as simple as, creating documents for folks. Like if you're skilled at Excel or Microsoft or whatever, creating beautiful graphics, you can start making money from that with the skills that you already have.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. What she said. Right? And maybe a workshop topic sounds like what I'm hearing is like where can you go to find these opportunities with these existing skills that you already have, right? What do those platforms look like? Where can I find these people? And I like to share, just in business in general, your customers are everywhere, but not everyone is your customer. We all want to make money. We might even have a need to make money, but not everybody, not all money is your money. Some business you don't want, right? So where can you go to find customers? What can you do perhaps to attract customers? That can be another topic that we put on the table as well. Please feel free. I'm going to check the chat box. Please feel free to share any questions, any suggestions that you may have for future topics. We'd love to hear them. You can reply back to you will have gotten, you probably already received it, a thank you for joining our call today email. Reply back to that email and let us know any more questions or topics that you'd like to have for future workshops. I do want to remind you that this workshop is the only one. You won't have to hop on another call tonight, tomorrow morning. This will be it. We'll send out the replay so that you'll have that. Give us a few days to get that taken care of and sent out to you, because we're also still shoring up how we want to do this and what frequency we can commit to without dropping any balls. Because I am still recovering, but I feel good right now and today. But I thank you so, so much. And we genuinely want this to be a benefit to you and not something else that's time sucking, or not something that, you feel like, oh, something else I need to do. No, we want this to be helpful, and we want you to feel like you have community here. Okay. I want you to feel that you have community here. Oh, yay. This is very useful. I'm so glad, Marlena, that it's useful to you. Again, Cassandra, thank you for asking your questions. Thank you, Sharday. Thank you, Kim, for being on the call. And I did not catch iPad. Tell me your name one more time.
Can I say one thing?
Yes, please.
All right. Sorry I joined kind of late. I was having trouble with my net with the weather, I guess. I don't know. One of the things that I really found helpful when I initially signed up was the email Shardy had sent, and it had a PDF that I was able to go through, and it really helped me focus on identifying some of the skills that I already have or that I can offer immediately. Because I think, I'm not sure about everybody, but for me, one of the things that I struggle with is selling myself, and pinpointing exactly what service I can offer, So I'm not sure if everybody got access to that, but I think it was a great document. And perhaps if you could share it again with some of the new base Shardy, that would be helpful.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So Sharday was saying Sharday has a community of peers, colleagues, fellow professionals, VAs, or people who are wanting to become VAs, and they have been tapping into Sharday for what to do, how to make it happen for themselves, and leaning into her expertise. And she sent them a list of skills that they have and that they can use to become a virtual assistant. And we also have some resources and tools that we can, share and build out so that we can have like a portal for our VA network VAs to go to, tap into, templates, that we can either create or help you create. And heck, you can monetize on these things too, right? Be careful, don't copyright, use your own or make it your own. But these are things that you can use to perhaps monetize, right? Set up in a digital store or something, and just sell on a recurring basis. Because if they're working for you, there's some other VA getting started that might need something to get started with. And hey, why not get a template that works, then start from scratch and waste more time feeling like they're inadequate or don't have what they need to get started. You already have everything you need to get started. You just need to get started, right? Needs to know where to go, what to do. And that's what we're here to hopefully help you do. Yes, and I wanted to put in there because I forgot to ask at the beginning, if you will just let us know where you joined the call from today. I'm just curious because we like to see what parts of the globe we were able to reach and have, given reciprocity back to us by spending time with us and sharing with us as well. Fantastic. Awesome. All from Belize. I love that. I can't wait to go back. It's been almost 10 years. Well, maybe it's been 10 years since I've been to Belize. I went there for my baby moon. Awesome. I love it. Well, Belize is in the house. Thank you all so much for joining and sharing. We will be following up with the replay. Sade, of course, for those of you who are invited here by Sade, if you aren't a part of our email list, Sade can happily forward that to you or send you the information on how to get on our list. But we are so, so glad that you took the time to join us, and we look forward to doing this again and again and again. Please keep connected and have a good night and or a good morning on your end.